It's a beautiful bacon day, Cookie Crusaders. We've got some big news coming. Looks like we're going to be having 2 new magic candies added to the game for Rye Cookie and Milk, 2 new epic treasures that we'll discuss as well, and new guild bosses, among some other things too. So let's go ahead and look at this and take a breakdown. So, with the August 11th update, which that means in 2 days, we're going to be having an update with the patch and the additions and changes. It's super exciting. Please note that there will be other fixes and adjustments, and you can find the detailed list of changes once the patch notes release, which we will cover, of course. Some portions of the update can change. So, new guild battles. 2 new boss monsters has appeared. Protect Earthbred with your fellow guildmates in new guild battles. Guild battle seasons. The guild battle will now consist of rounds that last for a week, and seasons that are consisted of 4 rounds. A round lasts for 6 days, plus 1 day for tallying. 4 rounds make a guild battle season. Once the season tallying is over, the trophies earned by a guild during the season will reset. So instead of the weekly reset that they've been doing, they're going to be doing rounds. Now, I don't have the exact details yet because we haven't seen a full release of it yet, but what this alludes to is the tropical island battles where you had a raid boss that you could fight for a certain amount of time, and it had a huge HP pool of health, and you just fought that accordingly until the time limit was over, just as far as you could get. And I believe there were points that some strong members could just get through those raid boss battles, and then it was done. So what my anticipation here is, since this is guild battle and since it's supposed to last an entire week, is that we will either still have the system of leveled up guild boss monsters, which is a very likely thing, that is very likely to stay the case, or we will have a boss monster that changes over the rounds, and it is a massive, I mean like massive HP pool monster, so like billion health, trillion, who knows, like it's hard to honestly predict truly because we don't really know how they're going to operate it. The more likely thing though is that it'll just be the same levels that consistently go up over the rounds, but instead of it changing every Tuesday, because it might actually be a different day now, who knows, instead of it changing every Tuesday, it's going to be once a week, and then you change over until you get to the new season. So that's interesting. Guild battle rules. To play in a guild battle, you will need guild battle tickets. 3 guild battle tickets will be added every day, except for the tallying day. You can battle each boss up to 8 times per each round. So, if this is any indication of how it might change, they may do it where you can just go against the boss any time of the week, but you only can have 8 participations. And that's the biggest reason why I think it's going to be some giant HP health boss, because you have a limitation of how many times you can fight the boss, rather than it being the traditional. So the traditional way, you get 3 attacks each day. 3 times 6, that's 18 attacks. So you have 18 total participation attacks, which means that you have to coordinate with your guild and work accordingly with that to get the most damage out over the 6 days. Now you can only participate 8 times per each round, which round will reset every week. So I do think that that does allude more to it being one giant HP boss monster. It's very likely. But either way, I'm excited as heck. Like, it's going to be fun. So, in order to participate in guild battle, you need to have enough guild battle tickets and battle attempts. So those will be the 2 requirements. Guild battle rewards. Players who have participated in guild battles can obtain torches, coins, Flame of Unity upon the end of the battle. If you defeat a guild boss, all members of the guild will obtain heroic torches and heroic medals. The guild itself will obtain guild trophies. Guild tier is based on the number of guild trophies you can obtain. You can check your guild tier in the guild battle screen and the statue on the domain, which they talked about at one point, which is finally coming now too. The contribution rewards based on the contribution ranking in the beta version of the guild battles are removed. Instead, guild members that participated in all 18 battles in one round will obtain 400 heroic medals via in-game mail upon the start of the next battle season. So, round rewards are delivered after tallying after each round, and after the 4th round you will receive season rewards along with the round rewards. So it's kind of like a mix. Maybe it's like multiple high-level HP bosses, since they can be killed, but that doesn't necessarily say if you kill a boss that a new one spawns. So it's really in that in-between point right now. Now, going further, the Guild Medal Shop. You can obtain heroic medals from Guild Battle Rewards and use the heroic medals in exchange for various items. So this, at least in my mind, is going to be the PvP Arena shop, where you can use those medals from PvP Arena to go ahead and buy things like Radiant Shards, Soul Cores, things like that. So if we just get another version of that with the medals that we can earn from here, that means you're going to have access to important materials and resources that much easier if you're part of a good guild. So that's really awesome. Additional guild battle improvements. You can now choose from 5 decks instead of 3, so that means we can have 5 potential teams to set up, which is great since we're going to have at least 3 bosses. So that means we'll probably need, at least 2 variations of teams that work for each boss, and the one last slot is like, the last boss team. The next level button will be available on battle results screen. So if that's any indication, that means that it's probably not going to be some super raid boss, but that's okay, because it says, please note that if you continue a battle, the HP of your cookies cooldown of their skills and treasures will carry over. So today's participants popped up and will be renamed to season participants. That HP carryover, what that means is that we've been asking for a long time, instead of me wasting my hits at level 1, being, the smallest amount of HP boss, and then just having 20, 30, 40 million damage wasted, it just carries over. So if that's the case, we might be able to have solos extend even further, which means that high-level guilds, if they are still doing the traditional level system, we might start seeing things like level 130 or level 150 bosses. That's pretty interesting to think about. That's really cool. So we're going to have to consider teams that can not only focus well in dealing damage to bosses, but survive so that they can continue to carry through additional runs. So that's an important thing too. Hopefully a practice mode will allow us to attempt that to see how far we can get in one practice battle. So we'll see what happens there. So through the battle log screen, you can see your guildmates and battles records in the season. If another guild member is in the middle of a battle and you try to participate in a guild battle, a warning will pop up. So it's not that you can't play at the same time as another member, but it now gives a visual indication so that you don't have to worry about hitting at the same time, and it helps with the communication of the guild. So that's awesome. You can enter the guild battle through the statue placed in the domain. So they added an official way to get to that screen. Now, let's get into the real big meat of things. New magic candies and treasures. Rye Cookie and Milk Cookie are getting their magic candies. Now, please be advised that we do not know the level 10 plus buffs based on these descriptions. These are just the initial changes to these cookies. So please be aware that they could be much stronger than just the initial look here, and I'm very much planning to be ready for them as well. Milk Cookie stands at the front line causing area damage, taunts the enemy, forcing them to attack himself. While the skill is active, Milk Cookie's Divine Milk Shield decreases the incoming damage. While Milk Cookie is using his skill, he will briefly become resistant to interrupting effects, and at the end, Milk Cookie removes all debuffs and heals HP equal to the portion of damage he blocked. So, As long as he can survive, he'll heal it all back. And that's already a really good start. I already love that, because that means he's an awesome tank that's going to sit at the front, not necessarily making the rest of the team stronger, but in the sense if he can pull attacks to him, then that's just going to be so nice. Like, I already see so much potential with that. With Rye Cookie, though, shoot first if you don't want to be shot. The cookie aims both pistols at the enemy with the lowest max HP and shoots around, dealing a great amount of damage several times. The cookie focus is so high that the cookie will become resistant to interrupting effects. The cookie's attack speed is greatly increased for the whole showdown duration. Enemies hit by regular attacks and skill attacks will be burned. So, Vampire has that bleed effect that continues over. This is a burn effect that's going to continue over. And we don't know yet if it's going to be a stacking burn debuff, like in the sense of Caramel Arrow stacking multiple arrows. But that would be pretty cool if every single attack and the skill attack from Rye Cookie just adds burns to multiple people. That's going to be pretty cool. We already saw in the trailer that Almond Cookie is in one of the boss battles with Rye Cookie, just because of the way that that might work. And if the burn carries over similar to that, we might see Almond jump back into PvP and paired with Rye Cookie just for that setup alone. So very interesting to see how that works. Now, the treasures. These are interesting. The Divine Honey Cream Crown. The Divine Aura enhances the skill of the cookie with the highest attack, increasing the cookie's critical percent and critical damage for a certain period of time, starting from the moment the skill is used. So it doesn't give us how long, not yet at least. The Divine Honey Cream Crown can be obtained through the treasure gacha and will remain at 1%. Now when I read that, it's not helping the entire team in the sense that your entire team is not buffed, so I don't think it's specifically a scroll replacement for all teams, but it might be for certain scam teams and speed teams. Because if you think about it, if you have Mint Cookie and Lilac and maybe a couple others that just do really well with a speed team, and you make Caramel Arrow the highest attack with searing toppings with high crit percent substats, this will make the crit even higher, and then the crit damage will be so massive that the damage output will be tremendous, absolutely tremendous. So I see some huge potential from that. It could also just pair with Scroll as well. So if you have maybe the Scroll and the Honey Cream Crown and something like the Robes, you might have a very, very deadly speed team coming out. So be ready for a speed team that might just absolutely dominate the arena in a sense of what this could bring. Now, in addition though, Milk might be a huge counter to Caramel Arrow because of the taunt and everything, so also consider that Milk is going to be super meta as a counter, if not a good way to win battles too. So just be ready for that. I can see some crazy things coming from this. Actually, even if it's not Caramel Arrow, it just might be Rye Cookie, honestly, that takes that spot, depending on how the skill works and how the magic candy works. So we'll see. That's super interesting though, super fun. And then the other treasure, the Order Sacred Fork. Imbued with sacred power, the fork deals additional damage proportional to each cookie's attack with each of their regular and skill attacks. The amount of damage for boss enemies is greater. This is only obtainable by the guild gacha. I'm going to say this now. I know that this will go along with the scroll pretty well. But honestly, I think this could be the treasure that could replace the scroll. And the only reason I say that is because you are dealing damage additionally from both the regular attack and skill attacks. So think of it this way. The scroll gives a certain percentage of attack boosting power to each cookie. That's it. It doesn't touch anything else. It just specifically raises their attack power. This does extra damage to all enemies based on regular and skill attacks. So, like just a quick scenario. Let's say that this treasure only does 10% damage of everything that is discussed. That means it does 10% damage of a 40,000 attack. It does 10% damage of a 400,000 attack. You know, because skill damage, like Vampire, 1,035%. That's 1.5 million. 10% of that is still 135,000. Now, the thing is, we don't know if it's true damage. It doesn't give enough description for us to really truly believe that. And maybe it won't be. Maybe that would be too broken. Who knows? But if it does, that means that at that point you have a sorbet shark on a treasure that's just pushing through with all damage that's being applied, whether it be skill or attack power. It's going to be a hard sell for it to replace a scroll for sure, because I'm sure that a lot of people are just going to use them together. But it could be one that replaces scroll in specific teams where you need certain treasures and you have a limited amount of options. So it's a tough sell, but it has the potential to do so just because of the skill tech. If it went just off regular attacks, I wouldn't think that. I'd think like, yeah, that's really nice, that's really strong. Going off skill attacks too, that's pretty big. That can be pretty big in a lot of different areas. I mean, using it with Eclair, 890%. Using it with Red Velvet, 1,032%. Sorry, that's Vampire. Red Velvet's like 1,300%. So I can see a lot of different uses for this treasure, and I'm going to definitely try and get that as soon as possible so that we can see how powerful it is. Additional things to cover. Improvements, changes, and additions. The Tree of Wishes rewards will now give way more star jellies. So you are going to get way more star jellies for getting the daily rewards. So that's good. You are going to get better rewards for the train now. Kingdom EXP will no longer be available as a reward from the train. So anytime that you see all those Kingdom EXP banners on the train, you no longer have to worry about that. You can get time jumpers and radiant shards instead. The number of topping pieces awarded has also been increased. So you're going to get at least double of the first minimum amount up to about 14 of the max, that's nice too. The minimum number of delivered auroras is increased from 1 to 2 now as well, so that's also helpful. Due to the changes in the train delivery rewards, the chance of receiving coins and treasure tickets will be adjusted too. The chance of receiving crystals and aurora items remain the same, and the changes will be applied in the new train deliveries after the update. So that's pretty cool too. The Trade Harbor. The amount of coins awarded is increased. You get up to 50,000 and the max up to 100,000. The minimum number awarded is caramel spyglasses and maps. Fragments is also increased. So this is in preparation for their Soda Island update, which is not necessarily coming this update, but they're increasing this so that you have a chance to get there faster and get more islands cleared sooner. So that's a very exciting thing too, because that's just passive rewards for you guys right now, and something that I'm sure is going to get even better as they make that change. And then of course the max level production is increasing for a few buildings. The max level of the Jammery is going to be up to level 7. So at level 6 you can make jelly bean jams ×5 and sweet jelly jams ×5. So those times where you don't have the ability to sit in game and make these very quickly and sit there and wait for their production, now you can make bundles of them, just like the bundles of the tool shop. So that's very cool too. Max level of the carpentry shop is up to level 5. You can just make pine cone bird toys. That's same thing, same exact thing. And then the max level of the jam pie diner, you can do 5 times hot level stews. So that's just a nice economy fix for something that I'm sure that a lot of people didn't really have the time to sit down and focus for. And so this is a very nice addition, and I'm very happy about that. Extra rewards for leveling up production buildings. Once you finish upgrading a production building, you will receive items that can be produced from the building as a reward. By upgrading the smithy to level 7, you can receive the indestructible glazed hammer ×3 as a reward. You can receive the rewards for previously upgraded buildings via your in-game mailbox. So for anyone that felt feels bad for upgrading their buildings and thought that they should have waited and stopped, you're getting rewards in your mailbox accordingly for all those. Now, it might not be huge because it might just only be 3 of each item for upgrading those, but nonetheless, you're going to get some free materials. And that's very cool too. Miscellaneous added other convenient features in the guild system and the limited decor, because the Disney decor is coming to the guild system. Added on and off toggle for guild notifications. You will be notified if a guild member has entered a guild battle via the guild chat, and you'll be able to send direct messages to your guildmates. And added the Disney limited decor theme to the guild decors. So there's a lot coming. There's a lot to think about, a lot to be excited about. Main things is the magic candies and the treasures. The guild is going to be awesome and it's going to be a lot of fun, but the treasures are going to shift up the entire meta, because even if they're not perfect, even if they're not amazing, I still see potential changes that they can bring to the meta, so definitely be ready for a meta shift in PvP. But also the magic candies, be very, very ready for those to make a shift, at the very least. Even if they're not perfectly strong like the first 3 were, which I think that they will be at the level 10 pluses. But even if they're not amazingly strong to start, they will still make an impact, because I can almost see 5 magic candy users in one PvP team as the potential meta, or 4 of them with like a good healer like Pure Vanilla or Cream Unicorn. So definitely be mentally prepared for those type of changes and those type of battles to be coming to the next season. So definitely strap in and get ready for all that. But I'm very excited about this. I'm very excited for all the new things, all the new setups. Tell me what you're most looking forward to, because there's quite a lot to process here. But either way, thank you so much for stopping by. I'll hope you have a wonderful day.